Hey everyone, Andrew Hess here. Today, we're going to talk about my opinion about why AI agent flows are not going to kill Power Automate cloud flows. But more than that, we're going to talk about which way you can build flows in 2026. And I believe there's 5 different ways. And I'm not talking manual, scheduled, or automated. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the architectural level. Should you build a cloud flow, a desktop flow, an agent flow, a logic app, or maybe build it on top of Teams workflows? So let's get into it and talk about all the different ways to build a workflow in 2026. All right, it's 2026, and right now, when you go to portal.office.com, this is where you land, right? So you land here, you have Copilot, you have Copilot Chat. They've kind of hidden the apps, which I don't know if I agree with right now, but right now, the apps are hidden here, and you can go to Apps, and right here is what we're going to talk about. We have Power Automate, and you can pin it if you want, right? If you don't see it here, right, you can go to all apps and you can search in there and find Power Automate. But all the way down here, we have Power Automate. And this is probably, when someone says Power Automate to me, this is what I think. This is where my brain goes. There's 4 different ways, I would say, to create a Power Automate flow. And that is automated cloud flow, instant cloud flow, scheduled cloud flow. And then I kind of would put in the process mining. I would kind of put that in there too. And then of course, right now in 2026, we have build with Copilot. Now we'll get into desktop flows a little bit later, but this is where I think most people think Power Automate is. In my opinion, why is AI not going to kill Power Automate flows? To me, I think it's simple, very, very simple. It all comes down to money. If you already have M365 licenses, why would you build an agent flow that costs consumption when you could just build a simple Power Automate flow? Unless everyone in your entire tenant has an M365 Copilot license. One of the biggest reasons to use Power Automate cloud flows is the low barrier of entry. It is a low code, no code platform, and it is built for everyone. Other reasons would be like you have a solution, or you have like a Power App that runs a Power Automate in some sort of application, or maybe for moving data from Microsoft Forms to SharePoint. Those are reasons I could see you building flows today. Personal productivity, small teams, maybe some enterprise level flows. Those are reasons why and still most of my flows are created as Power Automate cloud. So that's kind of where I am with Power Automate today. Nothing's killing it as of yet. 2026, I think we're fine. Like, it all comes down to cost. And if you have M365 or Microsoft 365, why would you pay extra for consumption license? We'll get into that. Maybe we have some reasons why you would pay extra. And maybe one reason is, let's say you have a premium connector. So if you look at your connections, right, you create a new connection. Not every connection comes with your Office 365 license. There are a lot of premium connectors. Most third-party tools, there's a few that are not, right? Like, look, so we have Adobe Acrobat Sandbox, not premium. There's some non-premium connectors in here. So in 2026, one main reason to build in Power Automate Cloud Flows is to build non-premium connectors. And we'll get into, what about when you do have premium connectors? Where should I build? Maybe there's some new options in 2026. All right, so next up. Most people do not build here, and that is in Microsoft Teams. So you have Microsoft Teams. You can add what's called workflows here, right? So if we search in here, we can go to Built by Microsoft, and we can find workflows in right here. Workflows. So this is Power Automate to me. Most people don't realize that this is Power Automate Teams. There's also some nice templates in here. One of the main reasons that I build inside Teams or with workflows is using adaptive cards. I really like using adaptive cards in either Teams or in Copilot Studio. In Teams, they look really good. I love using adaptive cards in here. And you can use different adaptive cards to do things like, for this one, I can print to PDF. And then that button will then run the workflow through Teams. Now, another thing is, if you go to chat, one thing that you can chat with actually is workflows. So you can actually talk to workflows. And when you talk to workflows, you can actually ask it to list flows. And it will list out manual flows and I believe scheduled flows that are available to trigger. So these are a nice little extra thing that you could do with workflows. And you can see right down here, I can run flows that trigger on a schedule, manually triggered. That's what I was saying. So trigger on a schedule or manually triggered. For the default environment, I can run these flows. So for personal productivity, all I need to do is press 1, right? I just press 1, run flow 1. Maybe that will work. Done. Your run for the flow apply to each has been started. It then ran that manual workflow. So this is a way to run manual workflows. A lot of people tend to ignore the Dataverse for Teams, but what's nice about Dataverse for Teams is it's actually an isolated environment. So you actually can isolate an entire Dataverse for Teams environment in your tenant, and you can have your own Dataverse tables there, and you can write to it from workflows and use Dataverse. So I think that's a big benefit that people don't really do that much. And one reason is that Dataverse for Teams environments have this where they'll delete themselves if they're not in use after a while. So those are some of the risks. But this is a total legitimate way to build a workflow using Power Automate, is as long as you're staying in Teams and you're not going outside of Teams, try out workflows. Next, this confuses some people and it is a little bit confusing, but Microsoft has this thing called Power Automate. And this is actually Power Automate Desktop. And what Power Automate Desktop is for, it's for running flows on your PC or server specifically. So let me pull that up. And this gets a little bit confusing for some people. When people talk about Power Automate, if I were to have a conversation about Power Automate with someone, I believe they would assume cloud flows. But there is this whole RPA system, which is robotic process automation. So in my opinion, why would I build here instead of somewhere else? Number one, you have a legacy system. And so I've done a lot of government work, right? So you have a system that's legacy. It doesn't have an API, maybe, right? There's no way to grab the data and you kind of want to walk through. And what's really neat is when you build your flows, right? So let's say we build a new flow. So watch this, right? Like I can click on the recorder, open up the recorder. Let's see, it's over here. We have the recorder and I can start pressing record. I have an Excel document open. Imagine you had an Excel document open and you come in here and you grab the data or you have it write data in here. Have it write different data. You can see it starts recording on the left side, all the elements. And there you can have it save to a server, save to, whatever the steps are you want. There are endless possibilities here. You click done and you can see how it kind of recorded the different information in there, said wait, it said send the keys A, B, click in the UI element, wait 2 seconds, click down. It kind of recorded each one of those steps in there. And then now you could go in there and kind of fix it if you wanted to. You could put some variables in there, record different steps. And so that's kind of what Power Automate Desktop is. It's a robotic process automation, which is for your PC or server, so you can have it running on a server. Now this can get costly if you are doing this completely autonomously. If it's, hooked up to a cloud flow and it works on a trigger, the cost can kind of ramp up, right? So that's where you need to pay attention when you're doing robotic process automation. So that's a third way to build a Power Automate. Now you may have heard, agent flows are going to kill Power Automate flows. I don't agree with that, not yet. Maybe at some point when, right? So you have to compare cost. That's my opinion. Like, okay, does everyone have a Copilot license or is it included in M365? Then maybe agent flows would take over. So let's open up an agent flow. All right, so we are in Copilot Studio. Over here on the left side, we have flows. I have one here for creating a ticket, a new agent flow. It looks very similar to Power Automate. So it's kind of useful, right? Like if you've learned Power Automate before, you didn't waste that knowledge. It's very similar look and feel as Power Automate, as they're kind of changing the look and feel all the time in Power Automate, right? But you can see you have different connectors in here, AI capabilities like Microsoft Copilot Studio, manually trigger, desktop flows, all kinds of different triggers. You can trigger it from like a manual trigger, and it looks very similar to Power Automate. Some very common things that I might do is run a prompt, run a custom AI prompt using AI Builder, and then respond back to your agent, right? So let's see, you can execute different agents, get agent test results, evaluate an agent, respond to an agent. So this is an agent flow. In my opinion, you would build an agent flow when you have a non-linear, so think like a tree, like a non-linear steps that would happen in the workflow, and you need AI in some form, prompt builder, Copilot Studio, to orchestrate the direction of your flow. That is the reason to use, for me right now, the reason to use an agent flow over just a normal Power Automate flow, especially if you're not using premium connectors in Power Automate. Why would you build an agent flow if it costs consumption-based licensing? So unless like every user in your entire tenant has a M365 Copilot license, which is an extra license, then it's going to use consumption on the run of that flow. But the main reason to use an agent flow is a non-linear flow, right? Like there's no exact response or answer. Maybe you want to call upon other agents. Maybe you want to run an AI builder prompt and then have it respond to another agent. And that's why I would use an agent flow, or use it as a tool, and Copilot Studio can choose which workflow to run based on your user's prompt. And they're really neat. So if you want to build a workflow and part of your orchestration in a Copilot Studio bot, you probably will build an agent flow. All right, last but not least is what's called logic apps. So logic apps, which is very confusing, right? So you have Power Automate, Power Apps, but then what's similar to Power Automate is called logic apps. And if you're taking any of the certifications for Microsoft, it may be useful to know that logic apps exist. Not everyone uses them. They are more for enterprise level app building. So let's see here. And you notice we have consumption based, right? And standard. So there's two different ways to host your logic apps. So in logic apps, it looks very similar to Power Automate, right? Because it was kind of built on top of Power Automate. I kind of think that's where it came from. I don't know all the details exactly, but very, very similar to Power Automate Cloud Flows, right? But why would you build here instead of in M365? Well, one, of course, if you don't have all the M365 licenses, or if you just want to work in Azure and build off logic apps. If a lot of your first triggers are webhooks or API calls, it will be a good reason to use logic apps. So you can see the built-in tools of HTTP. All these extra actions, once again, very, very similar to Power Automate. So when an HTTP request is received, then you would do the same thing, right? You would build an action. It looks like you add an agent there too. It's very, very similar, except with logic apps, there's actually a little bit more functionality. It's like one, you can execute JavaScript code. So let's see here. So JavaScript, I believe you could have some JavaScript code. So you can see right here, this built-in execute JavaScript code. So you could actually have some JavaScript that you could just run straight in logic apps. Right now, you cannot do this very easily in Power Automate. So if you had some more, this is more of your pro code, enterprise level governance, and you don't want any sole owner of this flow. That's why you would build in logic apps. Now, once again, what's neat about this is it is based on consumption, or we selected consumption at the beginning. So if you're in Power Automate and you have, custom HTTP calls, if you have custom APIs, and you want to build a flow on top of it, it may be a better choice to use Logic Apps than Power Automate, right? Because then you're using that consumption-based model. You can compare the two using the consumption-based model versus licensing in Power Automate. And those are the 5 different ways that I'm going to get into for building flows in 2026. Now, what did just release? I can kind of go into this just a little tiny bit. In SharePoint, they did add some more, Power Automate, neat, cool things. They have new rules and flows. But these rules and quick steps actually are very useful if you want very simple things. You don't have to create full Power Automates, right? You create a quick step, draft an email, execute. You can call on a flow from here, start a Teams chat. A lot of times they'll create buttons for you, execute a flow, set a value if you want to set a value in SharePoint. So there are some extra little ways to create simple flows, I would call them, in SharePoint, right? So you see create the rule. And there's some new stuff coming out. I believe it was literally just mentioned about it releasing. We can create a video on that when that releases. So I hope this is helpful. Think about it in this architectural level view. I do not think any way is going to kill, right, any other way. AI flows is not going to kill Power Automate flows until the pricing, until the price overlaps, right? So that means a company needs to have tons of Copilot Studio messages that outweigh the amount of premium licenses. Maybe at some point when that cost is on that scale and agent flows is then a better cost, then maybe agent flows will kill Power Automate. But until then, most people have M365. Not everyone's using Copilot Studio. Not everyone's using Azure. There are many, many more people using M365 right now, and that's why Power Automate Cloud flows are still going to live for now. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next week.